This year, we've seen some very fast monitors, with many brands now offering a 240Hz option and even some 280Hz variants as well. But now, ASUS is upping the game once again with the ROG Swift PG259QN, a 360Hz gaming monitor. Hi, I'm Brandon, a test developer at Ratings.com, where we help people find the best products for their needs. The ASUS PG259QN is one of the first 360Hz monitors and is part of the new wave of 360Hz gaming monitors developed with NVIDIA. These monitors are geared towards esports professionals who need the absolute best in terms of latency and responsiveness. And as we'll see, this monitor is an overall great pick for anyone looking to be on the bleeding edge of gaming. First, we'll look at the design and inputs of the monitor. Then we'll examine the various aspects of picture quality. Afterwards, we'll see just how good it is at gaming with the response time and input lag results. And lastly, we'll finish by comparing it to other monitors in its class to see just how it stacks up. If you'd like to skip straight to our test results, then see the links in the description below, or use the YouTube chapters feature. We bought the PG259QN to test, but it's also available in an R variant. This includes a desktop mount kit and NVIDIA's new Reflex Latency Analyzer. This is a neat tool that shows real-time latency of your gaming system, including the PC, the monitor, and even your mouse and keyboard. While it's a really cool feature to have, it's mostly only relevant to esports pros who are trying to identify and optimize the latency in their system. Besides the latency analyzer, we expect all other aspects of these two monitors to be exactly the same. The design of the monitor is pretty great overall. The stand is a gunmetal gray, and the back of the display is matte black. There are some tasteful orange accents found in the base of the stand, as well as the menu joystick. There are aggressive etchings on the back, and the ASUS ROG logo has a mirror finish that also lights up with RGB. It's a cool effect. Build quality is overall impressive. The base of the stand is made of metal, and it supports the display well. The rest of the monitor is made from plastics, but they still feel good to the touch. The ergonomics are also pretty great, as we've come to expect with ASUS. It has good height adjustment and good swivel and tilt ranges. You can only rotate the display clockwise, but since most people will be using this as their primary monitor, it's not a big deal. If you want to use a third-party stand, you can, thanks to the VESA mounting holes. On the back, there are 4 buttons and a joystick to navigate the menus and turn the monitor on and off. In the menus, there's a variety of features. You can change the RGB illumination and enable some gaming-focused features, such as a crosshair or frame rate counter. There's also a dynamic brightness setting that changes the luminance of the backlight depending on the ambient lighting of the room, which of course we turn off during testing. For inputs, there's one DisplayPort, one HDMI, an audio jack, and a USB 3.0 hub. Keep in mind that HDMI 2.0 port will only allow you to do up to 240Hz with an 8-bit RGB signal, so we recommend sticking to DisplayPort if you want to get the most out of this monitor. To manage cables, there's a cable management cutout in the stand and in the back of the removable panel, which works well. Now we'll move on to the picture quality, starting with a contrast ratio. Contrast is the ratio between the darkest black and brightest white of a display, and it's important for making scenes appear deep and full of detail, especially in the shadows. The ASUS has alright contrast and slightly above other IPS panels, but blacks will still look grayish in a dark room. In brighter environments, however, this won't be as much of an issue. Speaking of brighter environments, this monitor performs well in them thanks to its high peak brightness. In our SCR Real Scene test, we measured around 350 nits and over 400 nits in all of our window size tests, which aligns with the ASUS's marketed spec. For HDR peak brightness, things don't really change much here, as our testing only measures an improvement of 10 to 30 nits. So either way, the monitor's brightness does a good job at overcoming glare in a bright room, but its HDR performance is nothing to write home about. Also important for bright environments is the reflection handling of the display, which is how well it counteracts distracting glare from bright light sources. The ASUS also performs well in this regard, thanks to its matte coating that reduces the intensity of the reflected lights and scatters them, making the reflections less distracting. Overall, you should have no issue using this monitor in a bright room. If you're in a darker environment, then it's important to have good black uniformity, which is the evenness of an all-black image. Issues with black uniformity present themselves as brighter and blotchy areas of the screen when viewing darker scenes and can be quite distracting sometimes. Luckily, our unit has pretty decent black uniformity, with only some slight glow in the top and bottom, and this won't be noticeable to most people. It's important to note that black uniformity can vary between units due to manufacturing tolerances, so yours might perform differently than ours. Let us know in the comments if you own this monitor and how it compares. Now let's check out the viewing angles, which is how accurate the image remains when viewed off-center. Since this is an IPS panel, it has good viewing angles as expected. After all, viewing angles are one of the main benefits of IPS panels, so you won't get that weird color shifting when looking at the monitor from the side, like you do with a TN and VA panel. This monitor is a good choice if you need to share your screen with others or if you require the image to remain accurate for professional color work. Also important for professional color work is the image accuracy, and this monitor excels in this regard. Against our sRGB target, this monitor is the most accurate one we've come across, and it's basically perfect. On our unit, the most accurate mode was the racing mode, but the sRGB mode was also quite good. The white balance is superb and close to 6500K. The gamma tracking is excellent, and the average color DE is less than 1. So out of the box, this monitor is great for anyone doing professional work within the sRGB color space, or for just anyone who enjoys watching content as the creator intended. Keep in mind this is another aspect of picture quality that can change due to manufacturing tolerances. But because the accuracy of our Alienware AW2521H, which uses the same panel, is also great, and because of strict quality control of native G-Sync panels, we expect anyone buying this monitor to be pleased with its accuracy. If you want to work in other color spaces or enjoy HDR content, then it's also important to have a wide color gamut. The color gamut is the range of colors a monitor can display, and having a wider gamut means it can produce richer and more vibrant hues that are often used in HDR content. Unfortunately, this monitor's gamut only covers the sRGB color space and nothing more, so it's not going to offer that saturated look that some people are a fan of. That said, monitors have never really been a great pick for enjoying HDR content, and its sRGB coverage is still good for esports professionals. Now let's move on to the motion handling and gaming performance, where this monitor continues to excel. Let's start with the main attraction, the refresh rate. Refresh rate is the biggest factor when it comes to the gaming experience of a display, because a higher refresh rate reduces motion blur and decreases latency, aka input lag. This results in a more fluid, responsive, and lifelike experience that's hard to convey without experiencing it yourself. Unlike a traditional 60Hz display, this monitor has a refresh rate of 360Hz, meaning it sends a new image 360 times a second, or every 2.7 milliseconds. This is 6 times faster than a normal display, which results in much better motion clarity and responsiveness. It also supports G-Sync throughout the entire range, so you'll have a nearly tear-free experience as well. It's worth noting that at frame rates this high, diminishing returns does start to become a factor, as the difference between 240Hz and 360Hz is only 1.4 milliseconds in frame time. So you'll have to decide for yourself if this improvement in motion clarity is worth it. Because this monitor is running at a blistering 360Hz, its resolution is limited to 1080p, which is fine for most gamers, but it's somewhat limited when it comes to screen real estate and text clarity. So keep that in mind if you plan on using it for lots of multitasking. Now let's check out the response time, which is the time it takes for a display to change from one color to the next. A slow response time results in a blurry trail behind fast-moving objects, which is distracting and can make it difficult to track objects. Luckily, the Asus has a great response time, so this won't be an issue. At 360Hz, we measured a rise-fall time of 2.1 milliseconds and a total response time of 6.1 milliseconds. We did find there was a lot of overshoot in the rising transitions, but because the refresh rate and total response time are so fast, it wasn't too noticeable in motion. At 60Hz, the response time is a bit slower, but still good enough for 60Hz gaming. This monitor has great motion clarity, but if you want to, you can further improve it by enabling black frame insertion. BFI reduces persistence blur by turning off the backlight between frames. You can learn more about how it works here. This reduction in motion blur clears up the image a lot and makes it easier to track opponents. However, there are some downsides. First, there's a reduction in brightness because the backlight is spending a lot of the time off. Secondly, you can only use BFI at either 144 or 240Hz with VRR disabled, at least on this monitor. Other Asus monitors offer ELM B-Sync, which lets you do BFI and VRR at the same time. Lastly, BFI can result in a duplication shadow, known as crosstalk, behind moving objects, and our monitor did exhibit some of this. It's important to note that our scoring for BFI is fairly primitive and only looks at the supported range. It doesn't factor in the effectiveness of the implementation. This is an aspect we hope to improve in the future. Lastly, let's check out the input lag, and to no one's surprise, it's remarkable. At 360Hz, we measured an input lag of 1.6 milliseconds, which is virtually imperceptible. This remains low with VRR enabled, but does increase to around 10 milliseconds at 60Hz. However, this is still not perceptible to most people and is fast enough for console gaming. So overall, the PG259QN is a great gaming monitor for esports professionals and gaming enthusiasts. It has no major flaws and is one of the best displays you can get for gaming thanks to its high refresh rate and low response time. It even does well in most aspects of picture quality, especially color accuracy. It's an easy recommendation if you can afford its high price. If you're in the market for a 360Hz monitor, then also check out the Alienware AW2521H, which we've also reviewed. It's very similar to the Asus since it's using the same panel. The main differences are that it can get slightly brighter and has slightly better response times. It also has the NVIDIA Reflex Latency Analyzer built in, just like the R variant of the Asus. They're both good picks, so between the two, it's going to come down to personal preference. So that's it. What do you think of the Asus ROG Swift PG259QN? Have you bought it? And more importantly, has it made you a better gamer? Let us know in the comments below. As always, you can check out all of our measurements on our website. If you like this video, subscribe to our channel or become an insider on the website for access to our latest results first. Also, we're currently hiring in our offices in Montreal for various positions. So if you want to help people find the best products for their needs, have a look at our careers page. Thanks for watching and see you next time.